But everyone, you guys have always all said like, hey, come to me with like a solution first, or try to figure it out first. And then if you can figure it out, great. If you can't figure it out, but you tried, then hit me up, you know? And then I can kind of point you in the right direction. But if you're going to come to me, I'm going to expect you've already looked.
Welcome back to another episode of the Closers Network podcast, specifically the Built to Scale series. I'm sitting down with someone who's been in the trenches of scaling some of our most successful sales teams. He started off as a closer here about 4 years ago. And here today, he's a sales manager at One Call Closers, and he's played a key role in transforming new accounts into high-performing machines. We're going to break down exactly what it takes to go from zero to fully scaled, from red flags to systems, team culture to partnerships, and how to do it all while protecting the brand and driving real results. Please help me welcome Christian Urbina. Christian, what's up, baby?
Dude, that is a fantastic intro, Mike. I love it.
Awesome. Well, I can't take all the credit for it. But dude, I'm excited, man, because how long have you been a part of the agency now?
So it's been 4 years.
4 years.
4 years as of April.
Yeah. And I remember your first day, like it was yesterday. We were here in this very building, and you didn't have quite anywhere near the experience that I feel like you have now. And you've gone a long way, dude. Like, accelerated at a very fast pace. You've understood the sales game, in my opinion, extremely quick. You got results your first month. I think 12K your first month as a closer.
Yeah,
having
just over.
zero experience
Correct.
in closing. And you've gone on now over the last year or so to greater things within the agency, still maybe involved in some closing, but also a lot of sales managing. And so I'd love to kind of hear your perspective today, Christian, and as far as, you know, what it really takes to scale an offer. And the way I like to start us off is like, you know, one of the things that we do here at One Call Closers is we partner, right, with influencers. And what that really means is we become an extension of their sales team. And we have a lot of systems and processes, a lot of AI involved in doing this when it comes to the tech stack, but also when it comes to the sales processes, right? Sales management and just overall sales processes. So let's just say, dude, like, you know, you're starting off a new account. What are some of the things that Christian starts thinking about in getting ready to ramp up an account for scale? Like, you know, what is the first thing that you do when you know you've landed a contract? You're going to be the sales manager. What is your first week, your first month look like? How do you find closers? How do you put the playbook, the offer? Like, what is all of that? Give me a high level overview of what is the first thing that you think about, and how do you start putting this thing together?
So that's actually a really good question. And there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to that, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, I'm just going to take it to one of the earlier offers that I kind of scaled and grew, which was the actual Closers Network offer itself, right? First thing is obviously is sourcing the closers, right? Well, actually, that's probably the next. I think the first thing is proof of concept. So it's like, hey, I need to get in. I need to make sure whatever it is that we're looking to sell is actually sellable, right? Will people buy it? Does the market want it? Is it something we can actually sell? So the first thing always is sell, and then if we can sell it, then we build it. And so for me, it's sell, build. But once I can sell it, which I feel like I can sell just about anything these days, right?
Yeah.
It's the building. And so the first thing is the team, right? And so you kind of spoke a little bit to culture and kind of what some of the questions there. That's a big one, right? So for example, the first offer on the Closers Network offer that I scaled and grew, culture played a very big role because of who we are and what we do as an agency, that we partner with individuals. I think our company is top notch. I think we are at the top. I don't think there is anybody better than us in terms of an agency doing what we're doing at the scale that we're doing it, right? But it's the people. It's the people. And so we've got individuals in leadership that I've had the privilege to kind of learn from, you know, just how to scale and grow as well, who've poured into me, just like they've done with me from when I was closing. So it has to do with the culture is what I was going to say, right? So the culture is the important piece. It's having the right people who believe in what we're doing on that offer specifically, right? And then in terms of sourcing individuals, I will say it's finding people because we have a rather extensive organization. I like to look internally first before I kind of look externally. And so I always want to say, okay, hey, who are the people that are maybe on an offer that are maybe they like the offer, they're enjoying the offer, or they've been on an offer for some time, but maybe feel a change of pace might be worth exploring sometimes.
Some new excitement, baby.
New excitement, baby, you know? And just, you never know. Because sometimes when you get into an offer and if you're doing really, really well, it can get boring. At the same time, it gets fun because it's predictable. But sometimes it's nice to just see what else is there, you know? And so I try to find people who have high esteem for the company, do really, really well in terms of just like performance, right? Are people who are hungry, people who are driven, people who are excited for challenge, and at the same time aren't afraid of it, you know, because anytime you scale and ramp up a new offer, there is going to be challenge with that. And I think the biggest thing is really just pushing for the consistency piece. You know,
like our great mentor Thatch said, be hungry, coachable, and ready to take action, baby. Let's get it.
He did. I really enjoyed those buttons, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So
I do too.
But it goes sell the offer, proof of concept, build it, and then find a team, right? And then once you find the team, then it's actually now it's coaching, it's training, it's developing, it's putting into practice that, hey, you know, it's time to meet on like a daily basis, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of times what I find, and it's funny in this industry because there is no like I can't make anyone show up to the coaching calls. I can't make you show up and be accountable to yourself. You know, I can say, hey, here's the times and here's what we got going on. I'm not going to pick you if I don't want you to be there, if I don't think you're going to show up, right? But it's always on the people to show up for themselves, right? I can come in, I can coach, I can train, I can develop, I can teach you skill sets, you know, I can teach you tactics, I can show you different ways of viewing or how to go deeper on a conversation, right? Different perspectives I can offer. But at the end of the day, you only get that if you show up.
That's right.
And so I see a lot of people is like, a lot of times they'll coach and they'll train and then they get on an offer and they start closing and then they stop showing up. And I almost feel like that from a scaling standpoint, you need to be scaling. Like that needs to be part of your daily practice. Right? Just like eating, just like walking, just like sleeping. Like in there, you need to put in like train and develop,
Yeah.
you know? And
I'd like to give this perspective on it because I think it's super relatable. Just think of it like if you're working a full-time job, right? You have a lot of different tasks that you're given and that you have to accomplish and do. And a part of that 8-hour day, you maybe dedicate some hours to doing this, some hours to doing that, you know, some to this, some to that. A bad tendency that I see with 1099 contractors is they don't treat it like they're at that 8-hour job and they think like,
yes,
hey, I got the no-show. You know, like you've seen those memes where like, oh, no-show today, sales manager asked this, that, and all they're doing is like dancing around, like, you know, nobody's picking up the phone, nobody's showing up. But to your point, dude, is like what I've seen in the best salesmen, especially in our sales agency, I think in any sales agency, is they're spending their downtime developing themselves. To your point, they're training, they're showing up to team meetings, they're doing call reviews, they're watching their own calls and reviewing them, they're watching that game tape footage, right? They're reaching out asking for help, they have maybe calls booked with the sales manager or somebody that can help assist them. And it's like if all those pieces aren't there, just like a full-time job, right? And you're only half-assing your full-time 1099 and you're really part-time in it because you're not putting in the dedicated effort and the training and the development necessary to constant and never-ending improvement, right? And being on that path to constant never-ending improvement, then it's like, dude, you're not getting the results and you're wondering why sales doesn't work out for you.
Well, 100%. And I think a lot of people, because it's 1099 and there's this huge perception of like, you go on social media, right? And everyone just has this like, you know, you take 4 or 5 calls a day, you close one of those. Like it sounds good on paper.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is you could take 12 calls in a day and close nobody. You know? And so then all of a sudden you shift that perspective of like, you have to work in this industry.
Yeah.
You got to work at, I think, at anything in life, to be honest, you know? And if you're not working at something and improving and getting better, then I don't know what you're doing, you know? So this is a job. It's not a side hustle. You know, this is a career. And so it's one of more of an entrepreneurial spirit and individuals need to treat it as such, right? And so I look for people like that in terms of when I'm coming to scale and offer. I want people who are hungry, who are driven, people who have more of a figure it out mentality as opposed to like, oh my gosh, hey, I had an experience once. One of the closers, they had put in like a support ticket, right? And it was just like something was off with the tech. You know, the tech was off and it was just like, oh, hey, my meetings aren't going out. And so it was like, well, because my meetings aren't going out, I guess I can't take my calls today. And I was just like, what? You know, and our tech guy hits me up and he was furious. T-Man hits me up and he's like, what the F is this? You know, and he's like, what, can they not call him? Can they not call the person? Can they not just open a new meeting and just generate a link and then just send it? And so I think for people, if they're not in this industry, they're not going to know what to do. And so they come in with like employee mindset, waiting to be told and waiting for all the automations. But it's like when stuff doesn't work, and sometimes stuff's not going to work, they have to have that figured out. What can I do? Always come with a solution before a problem, or come with a solution that you have in terms of an idea that can solve the problem. And then I'll say yes, or hey, here's a different way to do that.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense, dude. And I'm excited that you're sharing all this, because honestly, Christian, like this is the reason why One Call Closers exists, right? Because we realize like what we do is hard. It's not easy. There's a lot of management of people involved.
A lot of
people are hard to manage,
yes,
right?
They are.
And if you're an entrepreneur right there, right now, like you have a product, a service, right? And imagine you're trying to run your business full time, and on top of that, have to like manage the sales.
That's a lot.
Dude, it's a lot, right? Just doing the sales piece alone is a lot, let alone having to figure out the marketing, the operations, the compliance, the this, the that, right? All the different aspects of running a business as an entrepreneur. Do you really want to be involved in having to manage sales? It's like that's a whole nother layer of things that you're bringing on. And I think that's a big part of the reason, why we came into existence, is because we realize there's a market of people who don't want to do that, who don't want any involvement. They want to focus on making the content. They want to focus on the fulfillment. They want to focus on the operations. They want to focus on scaling and growing the business at a different level, right? Not just on the sales side of things, but like the vision side of things. And so that's, I think, where really One Call Closers comes into play, is for that type of individual.
Well, if I would speak to that just a little bit.
Please.
I think if you're an influencer, right, you wear a lot of hats, right? Or if you're somebody who has a brand, or if you're somebody who's looking to scale and grow a business, one, you better have the drive for it. Because one, it's not going to be easy, obviously. It's going to be difficult, and there's going to be elements where you get frustrated within it. But it is, to your point, it's the marketing, it's the fulfillment, it's the development of your offer. It's then fulfilling, again, like I just said, on that offer. And whenever it comes to sales, what I've learned in terms of what will either make or break your offer is going to be your fulfillment. The salespeople will sell it. You'll be able to sell it. If you can't fulfill it, it will die out, period. Your closers will lose conviction when they start getting the comments and the complaints for, hey, what I was promised, I'm not getting anymore. So if you're doing this, develop an offer. But in terms of what we do, right, we can sell it. We can sell it. As long as we know what your vision is and what you want to do. How I always tell people with what we do is kind of like what you were talking about, is you get to focus on the areas that you enjoy as an influencer, which is building your offer, scaling it, doing the marketing, getting the individuals the results. And then what we come in and do is we handle all of the sales, the management, the scaling of the team, the building and growing of that account for you. But we act as a third-party extension of your business.
That's right.
Any offer I've ever been on, we're not separate entities.
Yeah.
I am your team,
That's
and
right.
I'm here to support and scale and grow your company, right? And so at the end of the day, that's my advice on that.
No, I love it, dude. And then, yeah, we do that, and we do it very well, right? Just act as an extension of the individual's brand, which is something that I think we do a really good job at. So one thing that I want to, add in there, because there might be somebody listening right now who already has an offer. And I know you said one of the first things we like to do is prove the offer. And there's situations where maybe that offer is even proven, right? We brought on influencers in the past where,
Absolutely.
hey, we've had a proven offer and they were doing $100,000 in a month, and we scaled it to 500
Plus.
within a couple months,
Yeah.
and up to millions of dollars, right? Within that year. And so I just wanted to make sure I specify that, this isn't just for people starting with new offers. If you already have an existing offer and you're having some challenges, or you're looking to scale and you're not exactly sure what to do from this point and on, you can definitely book a call with our agency, and we can chat about that and understand maybe potentially how we can help you there.
So one thing, just to circle back a little bit, right? Because you were talking about scaling and growing an offer, right? So can sell it, build it, find the people for it. And I think, and then they talked about training and development, but maybe just before training and development, obviously, is building out the playbook. And if there's one thing that I think is extremely integral, and I'm sure anybody at the high levels has one, it's your playbook. And that thing needs to be dialed in from all aspects of just your framework, your script, right? From your compliance to the offer itself to the deliverables. And from what I've seen, our playbooks are rather extensive.
Yeah.
They're not like 1-page thing or 5-page. I mean, our things are literally like broken down in probably like 30 different sections. And you can probably spend 2 to 3 weeks just going through the playbook, learning and developing, and you'll never know it all. But the playbook and how we see it is it's a living, breathing document, because as we scale and grow any offer, things will come, things will change, things will adjust, things will get tweaked, things will get modified. And so everyone needs to understand that although this works and you can build a strong foundation, there's always going to be changes. But the playbook is the key thing, I think, in any organization, because if you don't have that, you don't have something you can reference, or like when I say you have a figured out mentality, like all your information is always going to be in that book. And so that's something that's very, very pivotal. I would say right before kind of going into like the daily coachings, et cetera, like that playbook's got to be done.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like the sales Bible for that offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, I remember the first time I built one out, it was just out of necessity. I didn't even know what a playbook was. I hadn't even heard of that term. And this was probably about 5 years ago. I was just like, I was ramping up so many closers where I just kept being so repetitive, where I was like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. So I just opened up a Google Doc and I just started like putting everything that I knew that I feel like every closer coming on the offer that needed to know had to know, and I put it in that freaking document, dude. And then a couple of years after that, I found out, that thing's called a playbook, a sales playbook. So, but it was just something out of necessity, out of growth pains and scaling that I had to figure out, because I kept being like a repeat machine, and just the most simple, mundane stuff that you're like, oh man, like I shouldn't have to repeat this every time. I just added it to the playbook, and it really helped build a foundation for the closers coming on to have some type of information and some base to operate
somewhere to look. Well, and I think that's why the playbook is so essential, especially for a sales manager, right? From a closer, it's beneficial for them for the learning and the developmental piece, but for the sales manager, it's what reduces the inbound questions from a team, right? Because you give them the ability to have the answers at the tips of their fingers. And so while, yes, we're here for support and coach and oorah, right? I still like, I don't hate when I get a question and it's like, hey, how do I respond to this? You know? And it's like, just respond. Like there's examples in the playbook, like it's all there, you know? But it's not just like when you get it once off. It's you get it again, and then you get it again. And you got a team of, well, I think you had a much larger team before on your last account, probably close to what, maybe 100 closers, something like that.
About 150.
Yeah. So, and I think mine was upwards of about 40 to 50. And what I can tell you, when you got 40 to 50 people and you hear the same question over and over and on, not just once, but literally like on a daily basis. And like sometimes you just see and like, it's not that we don't want to respond. It's just like I feel like I've responded to the same question like 30,000 times this week. Yeah. And it's like, and it's the answer is right there.
And the challenging thing is like most of these people don't even look for it.
Well, that's a coaching piece though, right?
That is a coaching piece.
And so it's like it's there. That's on us, right? But I'm saying in the beginning, that piece there, it comes into play. And I think that piece of like the constant piece of like, hey, this, hey, that, hey, this. Once you figure out all the questions, and then you can provide all the answers via a playbook, videos, things of this nature, then all of a sudden your response is very easy. And this is what it worked for me too in terms of like coaching and training people. They'd ask me a question I've heard a million times, or they've asked me a bunch of times, and I would just literally just send them the playbook. And then they would be like, okay, I'm on it. So like that was it. I would just send it. And so it didn't matter.
What you're doing is actually teaching them to look.
Yes.
Which is the right thing to do.
Well, and that's what I was always taught. You know, I was always taught, and it comes from I would say from Rich. I would say it came probably a lot from Antonio, actually.
The figure it out mentality?
Yes. Well, and I carried it in my construction years as well, because even then I had to manage people. I had teams that I would run. And so whenever there was like an issue, everyone would always come and, hey, here's the problem. And I'm like, come with a solution. And then I'll tell you again if that's a good solution, or, hey, here's how we can adjust this, right? But you guys have always all said like, hey, come to me with like a solution first, or try to figure it out first. And then if you can figure it out, great. If you can't figure it out, but you tried, then hit me up, you know? And then I can kind of point you in the right direction. But if you're going to come to me, I'm going to expect you've already looked.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
Saves you time, saves me time.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it. Well, dude, I mean, we could probably talk for days about all of this stuff. And so I'd love to have you come back on. We'll kind of dive deep into some things you're working on right now that are ahead of you here. Is there anything that we haven't chatted about that you want to leave with our listeners today?
Not with the listeners. I just, get after it, right? As Rich always says. Yeah. And I will say, for influencers, yeah, I mean, if it's something that you're actually looking for in terms of like you're got an offer, you're trying to sell something, you've got some proof of concept is always a huge bonus, and you're struggling with just generating sales. That's something that we do very, very well, right? Focus on the stuff you enjoy. Focus on the stuff you like doing. Fulfill an offer. Get the eyeballs. Do the targeting. Let us do the sales piece, because that's a great relationship where we take care of all that. No headaches. Money's coming in, and you use that money and refocus it back into growing your business.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we've seen that time and time again. We've even had clients come who were maybe generating a little bit of revenue and not paying out as much as they would to an agency, but let's just say they were doing $100,000 a month, but then we scaled and started doing $800,000 a month. And it's like, yes, they're maybe paying a little bit more as far as like commission or percentage, but they're also making a ton more, right? And so it's like they're having more impact. And most importantly, man, they're helping more people.
Well,
and the influencers that we love to work with are the ones that actually care about helping their people.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You pay, so what? It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, though, you're not having to take the sales calls, which one is going to be a lot of time. You're not having to train and develop a staff, and then not only develop them, but now have to monitor them, make sure that they're updating their calls, they're marking their information in terms of like their showns and their cancels and their reschedules. Like all that stuff's important, right? Let somebody else manage all of that for you. Make sure all of your numbers are accurate in terms of your data so you can make the best adjustments for your offer.
Oh, man, I'm glad before we ended, I should throw that in there. Guys, the one of the most important things that we take a look at and we take extremely serious besides compliance in our agency is data.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is if we don't have the accurate numbers as to exactly what's going on a day-to-day basis, you're not going to have exact tangible pieces of action where you can implement, because you're not going to know exactly, are these numbers accurate or not? So we have very strong systems and accountability in place for closers to be marking their calls showed, no showed, right? Taking notes. And these are all extremely important in gathering that data and making very high level decisions based on the data that we collect. It's a very robust system. And if you just have one closer that is not properly marking the data correctly, all of your numbers could be skewed, and then you're not going to make the best decisions that are going to actually move the needle for your business, and it's going to end up costing you a lot more money. So I'm glad you brought that up, dude, because just that piece alone of getting the right data and making high-level decisions based on that data can change someone's business entirely.
Well, I've seen it, I've seen it. I've even experienced it, and having through coaching and course correcting individuals.
Give me an example.
So I've had closers, like they'll go in and they don't update their calls, And so again, my job as a sales manager is to make sure these are getting done. So right, every day, go double check. But now it's difficult when you've got about 40, 50 people. You can spend all day checking calls, right? But then what happens is as time goes on, you find the people who are doing it, you become more reliable on them, right? To be able to, that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when you check this week, and it's all being done accurately, right? But for those that aren't, then it's coaching, it's training, it's development, and then and then if needing to, putting in penalties. If you're not going to update your calls, that affects the entire account, because everything we do is based off of the data.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you just said, it's how you make high level decisions on your business. And if your data is inaccurate, you're making the wrong moves.
You're costing us some money. Yeah. Anyways, we'll end it there today.
Absolutely.
Dude, we'll do it again soon. And man, there's so much we can talk about. Like I said, this
could be here for hours,
months.
Mike.
Yeah, this could, hours a day for months. I feel like there's so much to talk about with just all the experience that you've had in the space and that we've been able to bring as a sales agency in general. So guys, if you're out there right now and you're listening to this episode and you're like, dude, I want to understand exactly what your sales agency looks like and how I could potentially partner with you guys. And we don't take everybody on. I'll be very transparent and honest about that. There's a lot of different boxes we're looking to check off to get the right quote unquote partnership. But if you are interested in at least having that conversation, spending 15, 20 minutes with me or somebody on the team to understand what that looks like and how we could potentially help, go to onecallclosers.com. You'll be able to apply there on the website, and then you'll probably end up on a call with me or somebody on the team, and we can kind of take it from there. But Christian, I want to thank you, man, for coming out. Dude, just seeing the trajectory of like how you started and like where you're at now, dude, it's just amazing to see like if you show up, you do the work, you got the right attitude, right? You focus on constant and never-ending improvement, like you're going to be able to achieve some like greatness, man. And that's what I see you on the path on, dude, is achieving greatness right now in different shapes and forms.
I appreciate that, Mike. And I think a lot of that comes down to just the company, again, the culture, and then the people that I've chosen to surround myself with. It's pretty much the individuals that I work with. It's you, it's Rich, it's going to be like the people that I associate and communicate with more so on a daily basis, right? They're people who operate at a high level. And so expectations of myself have to rise, you know?
That's right, baby. Expectations. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.